This is a 102.7 FM Toowoomba original podcast.
Welcome everybody to my podcast, Big Little Small Talk. I'm Megan O'Hara-Sullivan and I love to talk, but I also love to listen. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the episode. And we have a repeat guest here today. This is the first time I've ever had someone come on the show twice. Nearly 4 years ago, Rojin Rash came on the show and told us all about her journey from Syria to Australia. Welcome for the second time, Rojin.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, look, I really wanted to catch up with you because I've watched your career from afar. There's a special little place in my heart for you because you're such a incredible person, I think, anyway. Last time we met, you were an interpreter and a translator, and now, incredibly, you are a police liaison officer.
Yes.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that in a minute, and I want to talk about the work that you do. But if you wouldn't mind, and listeners, I would encourage you to go back and find the podcast of Rojin's first interview because it's really incredible. Tell us the story of how you came to Australia. I want to know all of the intricate details of living a very normal life with your family and then what happened.
See, it's all started back in 2010 when, as you said, like we had a normal life. I had all my family, relatives, cousins, siblings around me. We lived in a safe place back in our country, and suddenly the war started. Kind of all our dreams got smashed by all of that. We had to flee our homeland. We kind of stayed in the city I used to live in for 2 or 3 years. I remember us fleeing there in 2013 to our small village, which was a bit safer than the city, with my parents. I was engaged then to my partner, so his family was there as well. We lived there till 2015, where we thought it's not safe anymore to stay there. And even for my husband, because he had to travel far away from where we used to live to go to work, they started to know that he's Kurdish, Ezidi, and he was surrounded by the Islamic State groups where he used to work. So this is where the decision started to get a safer life. I was pregnant then, I had my first child. He was 6 months when we left Syria. We smuggled to Turkey and then to Iraq, northern side of Iraq, which is Kurdistan, and we lived in a city called Erbil. It wasn't an easy journey. We had to walk 10 hours through mountains with a little baby, like 6 months old, afraid of him, anything happened to him during that journey. We got called by the army once, so it was terrible 2 days to go through, and sometimes I just don't like to remember it. Even the experience in Iraq as well for 2 years, unfortunately we couldn't live with our people, Ezidi people in Iraq. We had to live in a city because this is where my husband and my brother-in-law could find a job. And it was really hard to find a job, so we had to stay where we were living, even though we kind of really was very well disengaged from the community there because they were very strict people in religious, let's say, and we hardly met people there, and we kind of forgot how to talk to people because I and my sister-in-law used to say like we felt like we were in prison because we really were disengaged from people. And one day I remember in the first year we were there, our aunties called, because they were in Iraq as well, called us and said there's people from the Australian government and country are here. They're trying to get Ezidis to Australia. They're giving them permanent residency. Why don't you apply? And we kind of were so hesitant because lots of people have tried, came to them and they were fake organizations. My husband said, well, let's just give it a try. We just want to get out of here. We want a better future for our child. And we gave it a try. It took us a year to finish all the UN interviews, medical tests and all of that. And I still remember the day that we got a call from the department saying that congratulations, you got secured a visa and we'll call you for your flight dates. Myself, my sister-in-law, my husband, everyone is crying and laughing at the same time, all mixed emotions. Kind of you're happy and at the same time are you sad because you're going forever. Going even far away from your parents and your country and everything. It wasn't an easy decision, but we had to take that decision. And I remember August the 10th, 2017, my first day when I arrived to Toowoomba, early morning, fresh air. I think I call it a smell of freedom for myself. And I and my husband were looking at each other. Are we really here? Are we finally here? We survived, It was just amazing. And I felt like I'm back home because I can, smell, the trees and everything remind me of my country.
What, now that you know sort of more about the environment, what was that smell, do you think? What time was it? It was August. A wattle smell, perhaps.
Like it's, the trees and the fresh air. I think it was more about the nature, the nature smell. And like when I say freedom is, we are out, of there, away from war, in a safer place, a place that we can be respected as humans, regardless of who we are as what religious or what skin color we are, whatever community we're from. That's kind of what I mean by freedom.
So, Rojin, when did you know that it was going to be okay? Like, you must have had so much trepidation. You might have known in your heart that it probably was safe, but you didn't know what you were about to face. When did you finally feel like your heart rate had stopped racing and you were going to be okay?
I think what helped us actually to be here, it might be different for our people because we come from really difficult circumstances, and when you come from war and genocide, you're kind of looking just for any place that you can feel safe. And also what helped us is being welcomed by the community, being supported by a community organization that helped us to settle in. I think that what helped us, to be honest, and knowing that there are other community members from our community are coming again to Toowoomba, I think that what helped all of us to settle.
So tell me about some of those wraparound services, like who were they and what sort of things did they help you with?
Yeah, our first and the most important one was Multicultural Australia. So when you first come to here, they found you an accommodation, they help you with, finding furniture, help you with filling forms and leases, and you got a case manager that would help you with reading your letters and all of that, helping you with your initial appointments with Centrelink, bank, setting everything up. And yeah, they will be with you for 1.5 years, I think, and then they will transfer you to a different program that can help you for another 5 years. That one of the services that helped us a lot. They had many interpreters from different, Syrians, Iraqis, all of that. They were the ones who were helping us to get to these services.
I know you probably don't really want to go over the journey too much, but I remember when you first told me about that walking for 10 hours, and not only was cold, but it was raining too, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
And you've got a 10-month-old baby. And there was another lady with you who was pregnant as well?
Yes.
And where you had a smuggler. How did you engage a smuggler?
Okay. So it was something that my brother-in-law organized back in Iraq. Unfortunately, the first ones, and we were lucky that we didn't give them any money, they kind of left us behind. So they took us to a certain place in nowhere, just an open land. Then we caught by the Turkish army. We were in Turkey. The Turkish army they were good with us because they found that we have little kids as well with us. My son was 6 months old and really little. They said, we can get you out of jail, but if we caught you back again, you will be in for another 6 months.
So you're in jail?
Yeah, they put us in jail in really poor conditions, taking us from many places to different places during the night, and we're freezing. We were working in a land and it was night, it was all kind of really wet, and we were freezing in a big truck, all of us. I remember we were transferred to 3 different places until we got to the police station or whatever it is. The second time, my father-in-law found someone else. He was a good person. He was a good smuggler because the other one just left us behind. So we kind of just trying to find someone who's good to at least not take our money and just leave us behind. And he was supporting the pregnant woman as well. But we had to go to a house, I remember, where the smuggler dealers are or they live in. And we had another group of people that were planning to go. And one of the ladies, I remember, she told me that there were lots of kids who died on these mountains because of freezing. It's freezing. And I was so concerned and scary then about my son. And I remember my husband was holding him, and every now and then all of us put all of our jackets on him so he can stay warm. And every now and then, like every few seconds or minutes, I would say, check on him. Is he breathing? And he had enough out of me at the end, but I was so worried. So he had to carry him all the 8-10 hours until we get to a village. We had to all hide in a room that is even small, like a meter by 2, all squeezed in. We had single people, siblings together, families. They had a 4 years old, so it wasn't easy. So we had to be so quiet till we waited for the other driver to get us all. So we kind of were 3 families in a taxi, and that taxi driver, because he was transporting people all night for the last 2 days, he hadn't had good sleep. So my husband had to be so awake because he was almost about to have an incident while we were there because he didn't have enough sleep.
Do you sometimes, I know it's part of your story, but like, do you just sometimes think, I cannot believe that we lived through that?
I don't know how we did it back then.
Yeah.
And what kind of courage we did have back then. Like, I wouldn't do it now. I wouldn't be that courage to do it now. But I think when you live in that circumstance, you can do anything just to get out of it.
Rojin, explain to me and the listeners, because I don't know, to my great shame, that I am really, when you say you're Ezidi, what does that mean? Is that a people? Is that a religion? Is that from an area? What does it mean?
So Ezidi is a religion, and Ezidis can come from different areas of the world. So Ezidi's origins are from Iraq, northern side of Iraq, which is the Sinjar is the homeland for Ezidis, and we have the holy temple of Lalish in Iraq. Ezidis can come from like Syria as well, where a city called Afrin, where I'm from, and also they can come from southeast Turkey and some parts of Iran, and also from the Caucasus region as well, Georgia and Armenia. So yeah, this is where the origins of Ezidi. So it's a religious and a like it's a faith, very old.
And the language that Ezidi speak it's not a uniform language, because you speak Kurdish Kurmanji, but there's other dialects, isn't there?
So Kurdish itself has 8 different dialects, and sometimes can be even more. It depends on the region you come from, the town you come from, sometimes the clans you come from. It really varies, but I think the basic is Kurdish Kurmanji for people who comes from Iraq and Syria. But even in Iraq, like people who lives in the capital city of northern Kurdistan, which is Erbil, they speak Kurdish Sorani. So, and even within Kurdistan, there's different dialects and accents, let's say. I don't like to call it different dialect, I like accent, because we speak the same, but there might be different words, or for example colors. We call it something and they call it something else. So yeah, but definitely it's a Kurdish Kurmanji. But Kurdish Kurmanji, it's a written language, but unfortunately due to persecution, like in our countries, we were unable to learn how to read and write in Kurdish.
Right. So when you did your schooling, did you do that in Arabic, did you?
Yes,
Right.
It was Arabic.
But you would go home and speak
definitely.
Kurdish Kurmanji,
with parents. And I don't remember us speaking Arabic at home. We all just speak Kurdish with family. Yeah.
Why, I mean, it's the philosophical question of all time, but why are the Ezidi people persecuted? Are you persecuted by ISIS for land or difference in religion, or what?
I think it's more of a difference in religion and the misunderstanding about our religion's practices, prayers and beliefs. That's the reason behind it, and that's how we've been subjected to 74 genocides through the history. And the last one was back in 2014.
Unbelievable. So we were talking before about when you came to Toowoomba, and so what did sort of that first day look like? You know, you were able to sleep in a bed, and
We kind of were over the moon. Like, we were just so excited, happy. Again, I can say it was mixed emotions, because at night we called our parents, showed them the motel we're in, that we safely arrived. But it was still, for myself, I got family behind. Yes, I'm starting a new beginning here in this country, which they're happy for me, but they were sad at the same time that we're so far away. And Australia is far away from our country, so you lose hope of seeing back again. And we were thinking it's going to take us years to settle as well, learn the language and the culture, and if we can be able to travel back again and see them. But we were so excited, so happy to be here, like kind of mixed emotions.
Do you think having your brother and sister-in-law made a difference to you? You had your own little family.
Yes, huge difference. And we've been living together since then. They had a child and we had a child, and now have another 2, and we lived together for the last 10 years we've been here, and it helped a lot, because whenever they had appointments, we looked after their son, and we did the same. So you feel like, someone is there to help and support you. And we've experienced everything together, so it was really helpful.
A huge bond. I think one of the most amazing things that you told me in that our first interview was you were talking about how you'd been bombed in the city and you wanted to go back to the village, and your mother was making bread, and to light the furnace you ended up throwing all of your old shoes in there. That was the only thing that you had to keep the furnace going.
Yeah, and also we would stay for days with no food or water. And I remember my mom and dad would walk for a long distance to get some bottles of water so we can wash the dishes or have a drinks, because the war was really bad in Aleppo and everything was cut around us, so there were no enough supply for the community to have. And my mom used to make bread for people so we can have a piece or 2 of it for us. She wouldn't take money from them, and to keep warm we had to burn our shoes so we can that
is just incredible.
Just
incredible. Before I leave that section of your life and talk about your work, how did you meet your partner, Wahid?
Wahid, I and Wahid are relatives. So his dad and my dad are cousins. And he loved me, since I was little, based on his story, which I believe. So when I was year 8, so he started to tell his family, and my dad kind of then said, no, she's still really little. So I was 14. But when I turned 15 in grade 9, he started to talk more to my aunties and see if I'm happy to be in a relationship with him. And back then, I said yes, because he was a very good person, very polite, very well educated, nice family. My dad kind of saw him as a perfect fit for me. And then I said yes, but I have a condition that you allow me to study and finish my study, and when I turn 18 we can get married then. And my dad had the same thought as well, and he agreed to it. He said I can wait another 10 years for just to get married, because he was really in love with me. And then we met. We got engaged when I was 15. I finished year 9, but I couldn't continue my study because of the war. It wasn't really safe to go back anymore. And we went to the village back in 2013, and we got married then in October. And we've been together since then, and he's my my love, and he's my great supporter in life. And without him I wouldn't be who I am today. He just my backbone. Like, he's really everything.
Oh, I know you love a love story and you love songs and love movies, but that does sound like an incredible story. I'll just remind the listeners, you're on Big Little Small Talk. I'm Megan O'Hara-Sullivan, and we're talking to Rojin Rash, who is bringing us up to date with what's been happening in her life for the last 4 years. Now, I mentioned at the start of the show, Rojin, that now you are a Police Liaison Officer. Now, tell me, how did that come about? You were working as an interpreter, embedded in the community, and what happened?
So after we had our interview, I was still interpreter then, and then I got another job as a health educator for a year and a half, but the funding wasn't well settled, so it wasn't rescued. I've heard about this opportunity, which I really wanted to apply in 2021, but my youngest son was still little, my in-laws weren't here yet, so I wasn't ready to apply then. someone else started the position for the Middle Eastern communities. After 12 months, he decided to move to a different city. And I've heard that it's been re-advertised again. And I was so excited because I really wanted to do that position. When it came in, I did apply for it, went through the interview. And obviously I was the best candidate then. But it's kind of what attracted me to the position. It was helping the community in the legal side, because we can see lots of issues with the young kids. And there's a kind of limited education from the community about the Australian laws here. And that's all goes back to language barriers and the trauma and all of that. And a new culture, a new country. So it was kind of what attracted me to apply for it. And let me say again, Wahid was my great supporter. I was a bit hesitant, but he was always said, like, he was pushing me for it, apply for it. It's kind of, I always say, like, we don't have really good experience with police back in our countries, and the fear is still in our hearts. So we're kind of, this is where the hesitation comes in. I was really well supported by him to apply, and he saw me the best one can do that job. Listen to him, and also CCL Catherine as well. Apply for it, got the job since April 2024.
Right. Just flesh that out for me about I know I have heard that before about people don't have a good relationship with the police, particularly maybe the South Sudanese or whatever. So why is that? Like what contact would you have had with the police in your home country, or is it sort of the military, or what is it?
So, it's mainly police, or any people in, in uniform, and specifically, with the war and the genocide that we all gone through. And police in our countries, they kind of don't have a way of communication. They just come, arrest you and take you. Sometimes you wouldn't even know why you're being arrested for. So that's where the experience come, and you don't feel supported by them. You put a complaint in, nothing further would happen. So there's no actions actually to be taken. Yeah, this is where it comes from, I guess. But here is totally different and much, much better. And the community is starting to get the trust back again, which is really good. And that's why kind of, again, I thought it would be really good to build that trust back again. And when they see someone from their communities there, they get really comfortable talking to police and feel more confident of communicating with police.
What does the job involve? I see that you go to a lot of schools.
Yeah.
How is that all organised, and what do you do when you go to the schools?
So us as PLOs, our main, I think one of our responsibilities is community engagement, and engaging with youth, schools, community members, educating, and versus wise, educating officers about our culture as well, what the differences between the laws here and back in our countries. So with schools, I do have, I do know the teachers from my previous work in the community. I had really good connection with them. So when I started the position, reconnect. We go to schools, we engage with students, we build that relationship, especially with youth. It's very important for them to see us in uniform at a school, so that take the fear off from them, and also they trust us when they come across a situation that they need to put a complaint in, or if you have any concerns or questions. So that's how we go and engage in school activities. If there's any issue, we go and give them advice. Sometimes you might need assistance from officers, but we kind of the bridge between the community and police officers.
And we know that you are part of the police service because you're wearing a uniform, but what's distinctive about your uniform? Is it the yellow epaulets?
Yes, it is. So the way you can recognize us from the yellow epaulets, it says liaison officers, and we get lots of questions from the community, and they'll say, what is the liaison officer? Because even myself, I didn't know, what is a liaison officer. We don't have liaison officers in our countries. So it was something new for everyone, and they think that I'm an interpreter with, the police, but it's gonna, it does take me time to explain to them what it is our job. So yeah.
Who else is there? There's you for the Middle Eastern community. What other liaison officers
And we
are
have
there?
2 Indigenous PLOs as well, and 1 African PLO. Yeah.
Right. What are the sort of, you say it's really important to get to the youth. What are some of the issues do you see in your community? Is it sort of boredom? Is it drugs, or what's the sort of,
I think it's more of like, I think it's fights. Like I've come across a lot, and also like it comes to DVs as well with, not really use. But with usage, sometimes can be, online abuse or fights. And also like it's crazy how social media can influence these kids these days, and they use it against each other at school. And it's a bit different like here in Australia. Like you can't go and assault someone, and have a fight with someone, like, but in our countries usually the boys just solve the problems, like, in this way. So this is where I see, lots of issues at schools that start to happen.
Rojin, when you go to the schools and go to the community groups, are you said I really like that about, you're educating the police service as well as the other way around. When you go to the schools, are you just seeing the Middle Eastern kids, or are you talking to the whole group? How do you get your message across?
Well, it depends on what kind of we get requested by the school to come. Sometimes can be only, with Middle Eastern kids if there's any issues, or if they just want us to pass a message on specific laws in Australia. We can be involved in other cultures as well, but I think mainly would be for people from our culture. Yeah.
What sort of things are you saying? Like when you see this sign that you can only go 60 kilometres an hour, or what sort of things are you educating people on?
So we can't really give a lot about the specific laws in Australia, but we can educate them on the basics that we know. And if we don't know something, we ask them or connect them with an officer, such as our cross-cultural liaison officer. So she, the one who helped us to deliver these kind of sessions, and specific, like, with DVs and all of that, we get assistance from her.
Are you delivering these lectures in language?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I assist our CCLO with interpreting.
Right.
And especially like for new arrivals, we do life skills. Sometimes we get requested by school to come and talk, for example, about, I've been asked once to go and talk about Jack's Law, like the new laws in Australia about, knife. And because I've been working with the officers, so we're aware of the legislation. So just went and give it advice. You're not allowed anymore to, hold a knife in public if you're under 18. So that kind of, just general advice on, so they don't get into trouble.
Yeah. I suppose that's not something specific to the Middle Eastern community either, is it? It's to the
wider
whole community.
Yeah.
Do you get contacted by parents whose kids are, I don't know, kind of going off the rails a bit and that sort of thing? They feel like you're someone who might know what to do, where to direct them, that sort of thing?
I think it's mainly the parents go first through the schools, and then we get contacted by the school to come and sit together. I've been asked to do that a few times, but the parents would go first to schools, and they would be more than happy for me to sit with their kids and advise them and guide them, to not get into trouble. And when it comes from myself, specifically if you're in uniform, they kind of, pay more respect and listen. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the kids. But yeah, parents always more than happy for us to talk to their kids and advise them.
Are the kids that you're seeing, are they mostly first generation? They've been born here, or a lot of them been born back in your country?
A lot of them been born back in the country, and they've been through the genocide and the trauma. So there is a trauma behind all of their, kind of behavior, and specifically the boys, because they've been, with ISIS for a long time, for years, and they've been trained to fight, so that's how they're getting that aggressive behavior. And some of them have got mental health issues as well. They're not really on the right medication or not getting the right support because of the stigma, of accessing a counsellor in the community. So there's many, other reasons behind their behavior.
Tell me about, I thought it was really interesting, I was reading that because Kurdish Kurmanji is not a written language, that texting is not very common, that you tend to send audio messages. Is that true?
Yes. So as we mentioned, like they would use Arabic letters to Arabic phonetics to write in Kurmanji. But this is for people who are, let's say fluent in Arabic or know how to read and write in Arabic. And yeah, we rely on voice messages. Yeah, but people from Iraq use, because in Kurdistan, they use Arabic letters to write in Kurdish. So this is, I think, how it's more specific for Iraqis. But yeah, lots of them use Arabic alphabets to write in Kumanji, but would sound the same, but different letters. Because Kurdish Kumanji, it's a Latin script. So it's like an English letters with different, symbols and that.
Interesting. Now, you're talking about getting the message out there. So what else are you doing to try and get your message out to people? I think you've always got a plan, Rojin.
Yeah, and I'm very really well supported by our officers and seniors and our CCLO. So we come with an idea that specifically for Ezidi community, some of them would have really limited education, zero English, even struggling to read and write in their own language. And it's kind of when we go and help them, or we would like to give them some resources or information, it's so hard to get them some written resources. So our CCL came with the idea of having some podcasts for the community, because the only way you can pass the message to these communities is through audios and videos. So we working on the Toowoomba Ezidi podcast, for Ezidi community. So we done 2, and the third one is coming soon. So the first one is about what the Queensland government and police are doing to prevent crime in Queensland. And we saw that's very important for the community to know what police is doing, because sometimes there would be some misunderstanding, especially when they see break-ins and youth crime, all of that. So it's very important to make the community aware of what the government is already doing. And also the second one is more about safety, and also the third one going to be about home security.
So are you hosting the podcast? I'm getting interested. I can see it being called Big Little Yazidi Small Talk, yes?
Yeah. So it's the visuals are in English, but you will hear my voiceover in, Kurdish Kumanji. And we planning to do more series of different topics but what we do, we ask the communities and stakeholders on what kind of topics we see it's very important to educate the community on. So that's how it all comes up, but you will hear my voice over it.
Wonderful. Now, you said before about your parents and your parents-in-law. Are they here now, and how?
Yeah, my husband's parents and his sister are here. My parents and my siblings are still back in Iraq, and I kind of sponsored, I applied for them to come here to Australia, but still haven't heard back anything. But yeah, working on it to get them to here.
Yeah, and I wouldn't imagine there's any possibility that you would have gone back. Yeah.
Not really, specifically to Syria, and with everything that been changed in the last year, it's still not safe. I don't feel safe going back. I don't know, maybe if my parents took them longer time to come to here, I might travel back to Iraq to see them. But still, I would prefer for them to come to here.
What about your grandparents? Are they still alive?
Yeah, my mom's side, my grandparents are in Syria. They're still alive.
Are they still living in the village?
Yeah, they still, but it's more under the supervision of the Turkish people. But they saved there. It's better than before. And now they actually able to travel to different cities and see their kids as well, because my aunties and uncles live in Damascus, the capital city, and they used to be in the village. And when the attack came in, they kind of stuck there. But lately they had the opportunity to travel and see their grandkids and my aunties and uncles. Yeah.
Because the reality is you would only be 20... How old are you now?
29.
29. Oh, gosh. And all of this is... So your grandparents are probably, only 60 or something?
Yes, they are close to. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. So much has happened in your life.
A lot.
We're on Big Little Small Talk. I'm Megan O'Hara-Sullivan. We're talking to Rojin Rash, who is a Police Liaison Officer here in Toowoomba. You said that you had another 2 children once you were here. I can imagine that experience of having children in a Western situation would have been... How was that? I mean, your English is fine, but how do other migrant women cope? Do they have people there to help them with the language? And how was that whole experience so different, having a baby?
Yeah, for myself, it was a great experience, to be honest. Specifically, being looked after, like really well by the hospital, the midwives, the nurses, the health system. It was just amazing, how many follow-ups they do, and like having good English helped as well. I remember with my daughter,
whose name is
Janet.
How much more Aussie can you get than Janet?
She considered herself as Aussie. So
why was Janet called Janet?
Because we had a girl in the family called Janet, my husband's uncle daughter, his cousin, and we I and my mother liked the names, so we got two names and Janet, and both of us agreed to the name, and then we call her Janet because the meaning of it is really nice, a gift of God, from God. So that's how we liked it, and we called her Janet.
It's just so funny. Eldest child Saeed, youngest child
Miran. Yes.
And Janet,
yeah. So yeah, I had a really great experience.
I interrupted
No,
you.
you're
You're
right.
telling me about the experience of having a baby. Do you think that your contemporaries in the community, is it always a good experience for them, or is it quite?
I think some might have a bit difficulty due to language, barriers, but the hospital are getting really better at getting the right interpreters. They're really willing to educate themselves about the community, what is appropriate, what is not appropriate to do, and the good thing about them, they always check with you whatever they're gonna do or any decision they're gonna make, which is amazing, and it's very well appreciative by our community. But again, it can be difficult sometimes, and specifically if you don't have family here, it's not easy at all. But when you're surrounded by your family, it's an easy experience, and especially for mums with first child, it's always difficult if you don't have family. Doesn't matter where you have the baby, always difficult. But I guess so far, I know people are so happy with the hospital services, and especially with women. Yeah.
You and your husband recently bought a house.
Yes.
How's that? How was that whole experience?
Oh, it's amazing.
That was ever going to happen?
No. And but again, family. Always. We had a great support from our family. As I told you, I've been living with my brother-in-law for a long time, so we helped him save money when he bought his house, and we lived together since we've been here. And then when we came to the decision, okay, now it's our turn, we need to start buying the house. The kids are growing. It's lovely to live together, but there's some stage, kids are growing now. And they say, yes, okay, you start saving and we'll support you. And for a year or so, they kind of didn't let us pay anything in the house. No rent, nothing, no groceries, nothing. So we could only save, and they borrow us money as well. And then, they helped us with buying the furniture. And I've been doing renovation for the last year, and it was all by my father-in-law, my uncle, everyone in the family worked in the house. So great family support, and a dream become true.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was it quite sort of surreal not living with your sister and brother-in-law anymore?
It is. It's kind of, the kids not accepting it really, and it's going to be hard at the beginning because we've been together for a long time. So I don't know how we're going to handle it, but we live so close to each other. It should be fine, but it's going to be a bit hard at the beginning, especially on the kids and the cousins. They're so close to each other. They spend the first 10 years of their life together.
That family, did they have 3 children as well?
No, one child.
One child,
Yeah.
and you've had the 3.
Yes.
How are the children going at school? Have they coped quite well? It's just all they've known, and
They're doing great. They just love it. Academically, they're doing amazing. The teachers are happy, and they love their school, and I love their school. They're just doing amazing there. But they're still I feel with my oldest, he feel still some connections to Syria because he knows he born in Syria. And all of them, they're so curious about learning about the culture, the country, and especially my childhood. They love listening to stories of my childhood, and every night they say, Mama, can you tell us a bit, what you used to do and what you eat and what you did with your cousins?
Do you feel that it's kind of slipping away? It's getting further and further in your memory? And do you worry about the children not having enough culture, for want of a better word?
To be honest, yes, I do sometimes. Specifically, we're trying to keep them, remember speaking Kurmanji, and we would like to teach them Arabic as well, because we telling them one day maybe everything gonna be so peaceful back in Syria. We can go for a visit. You can see where mom and dad have been born, and you can see our, where we're originally from. And they maintaining our culture, the traditional celebrations and everything. But you kind of feel like still like we're so worried about them missing a lot from the culture and other kids in the community as well. And some of them, specifically the one who born there and came in their 16 or 17s, they kind of lost, I think, and they don't know where they belongs to. It's not an easy journey, and they get so confused between the two cultures and where do I belong to. It's a big question for them as well. And even my kids, I told you, like my son, he wouldn't remember anything. He was 6 months old only, but he still feels like connections to Syria because he only know that he born there. With my daughter, she said, I'm an Aussie because I was born here. I said, yes, you are. But mom and dad are Syrian. So.
Do you feel a sort of a slight pang of sort of disloyalty when she says that, or you're sort of proud of her?
I am proud because it's like me, like myself. I'm born in Syria and I'm proud of that. And she would be proud of, she born here. She's proud of it. And we proud of, calling Australia our second country. So it's amazing.
Yeah. You've got citizenship now?
Yes.
When did that happen?
Back in 2023. Yes.
And how did you feel about that?
Oh, again, we were over the moon. Like, we as permanent residents, we still had the same right as citizens, but it's really nice to become
different mentally.
Different,
right.
Totally different. You kind of say, okay, now we're citizens, of this country.
When I spoke to you last time, you said it a couple of times about, our dreams were going to come true. We were going to be able to start our businesses. Is that what's your husband doing now? He was working.
Yes, he's a panel beater.
Yes, he's still doing that?
Yeah, he's still doing it, and he loves it.
I've been with the same people the whole time?
Yeah, same people.
Wow.
Same people.
Yeah.
And because they're so supportive and they're really good people.
Give them a shout out.
Home Smash Repairs.
Okay.
Our favourites. Yeah. So they're really good people and they've been really supportive of him, being on casual. Whenever he needs to come to family, they would appreciate that, understand that. So yeah, he kind of loves working for them and he's been with them for the last 4 years, I think.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, since 2021.
Now, I think we're running out of time, but I've got a couple of questions for you. What made you smile today, Rojin?
Oh, coming here and seeing you because I haven't seen you for a long time.
All right, get a tick for that.
Yep.
What would be the worst advice that you've ever been given?
Oh.
Apart from that smuggler who said, come with me. That wasn't
Worst
good advice.
That's a really good question. Maybe that was the worst one. I don't know.
We can figure
Can't
out that one.
Really.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, how about this one? You've had this question before in time. Who's your favourite royal then?
Oh, back then.
No. Who's it now?
Now, I think Queen Rania from the Jordanian royal family. I think she's an amazing woman and a really strong woman that I learn a lot from her talks.
What sort of thing does she speak on?
It's like more about like women education and how that strengthens their personality and help them move in life. And she been a great, I think, mother for her kids as well. So that kind of, what I learned from her. She's amazing.
What's your plans, Rojin? Like, what do you think that you'll do? I can see you going and doing law or something. You'll be the first Ezidi judge in Australia or something.
Who knows?
What do you have a sort of a
like
long-term
Ezidi
plan?
Officer, I don't know. I don't really have plans. I really love and enjoy what I'm doing now in my position, and I want to do more, for the next, I don't know how many years. But currently really happy with what I'm doing. But I don't know what the world gonna take me to, or
Yes.
I don't have any plans yet. Because I'm just excited and really loving what I'm doing now.
You're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you remember, but you said last time your favourite royals were Meghan and Harry because you
Yes.
love a love story.
I know. Yeah, I love stories. They my weak point. Like, I don't know. It's just, yeah. And I love seeing couples who fell in love and married after a love story. Yeah.
Okay, well, what about the song that can't keep you off the dance floor?
Oh, a lot. But currently, I think a song, Sapphire. So it's my favourite now.
Okay. We're getting a nod for that, so that's great. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time. In another 4 years, I'm going to catch up with you again and find out what you're doing, but we won't leave it so long between drinks, as they say in Aussie. Have you got a favourite sort of Aussie saying that you use now that you can't believe is coming out of your mouth ever?
I think all my friends know at work, true God.
True God?
Yes.
When do you use that? Use it in context.
Yeah, anything like when you can't believe something or, you say true God. It's more of an indigenous thing, but I love it. Yeah. Just using it a lot now these days.
Oh, well, that's beautiful. So thank you again, Rojin. It's been a joy catching up with you again. Thank you for being my guest on Big Little Small Talk.
Thank you, Megan, for having me, and I love catching with you again, and who knows when the next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for this week. Thanks for joining me on Big Little Small Talk. I hope you can make the time to join me next week. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on your favourite podcast app.
You've been listening to a 102.7 FM Toowoomba original podcast. For more podcasts or to listen to live and local Toowoomba radio, please visit 1027.com.au or download the Community Radio Plus app.